Hello, and welcome to my humble abode. I don't know what I'm doing here yet. I'm just a random person. But I figured since I had done a couple art videos that I might as well do one voiceover. So, here we go! So I had a couple sketches that I'd done previously, and I had this idea for this one of this girl just covered in some kind of flower, like those little ones, like little wildflowers, and I just thought that that would be really incredible. And then I kind of only did 5 or 6. But anyway, it was a sketch that I had, and it was something that mattered to me. Maybe it'll be calming for someone. Hopefully. Anyway, I then started with the skin, because that's the most, not the most important part, but it's hard not to focus on the skin when there's so much of it. Not that I did the best job, I won't pretend that my technique is the best. It's rather streaky, but I'm pretty happy with it. And I feel like looking at just human skin, it gets kind of gross itself. Anyway, from there I started to go on to like blush and stuff, but then I got bored, so I went to something else. Her lips I was really excited to do because I love weird lip colors, so sometimes I do red and normal colors like that, and sometimes I do blue and black and green and purple. It makes me happy, so I figured why not? And for the same reason I gave her a tattoo. Anyway, I went and did a lot of skin, and then I did this hand that was I promise you, it looked better in my head and in the sketch. From there I went into the flowers, and I really just kind of wanted it to be spotty and strange and kind of sweet. I did this just little spotting, and I had a little bit of fun with it. And yeah, that's what I did for a long time. This is so sped up, guys. I don't know what to say. Well, other than that, it was fun. And when I saw this image in my head, I just wanted it to be of this proud, daring young woman who is at the edge of the ocean. And it just gave me this really good feeling of someone who is brave and powerful. And I wanted her to be bold. So I went with a pretty unusual eye color. It's purple, I suppose, and it also has a bit of blue in there. And from there I did the top shading with much darker purples. And then I figured what the heck, and I did green for the hair. It's funny, those are the colors I apparently use some of the least of, because they are 100% not dying, and most of my markers are dying. By the way, these are Dick Blick markers, and they're pretty nice. I would buy them again. In fact, I am buying them again. I don't think there's as many as Copics, but I'm okay with that. And they mix pretty well. I can't compare them to anything because I'm cheap enough to not do Copics, but not quite cheap enough to skip out on alcohol markers altogether. But they're really nice, and I'd encourage you to use them if you really wanted to try an alcohol marker that wasn't the Copic brand. Anyway, there was a lot of hair, and I tended to use 3 tones in it. I used the very dark tone to kind of give it a nice deeper tone to it, and to kind of separate the sections of hair. And then from there I used a more planty green. I don't know, it makes me think of a Venus flytrap, and that's not really what I'm going with the character, but you know, kind of fits. I think Venus flytraps would be pretty brave. They're definitely very brazen creatures. But anyway, so I did that for a while, and I used 3 tones to make sure that it had a lot of dimension. And More tones can give you more dimension, but a lot of times if you're using 3 the right way, it's going to work out well for you. And then I went onto the skin again, and I figured out a blush that I wanted to use. I'm pretty sure it's the same color as those tattoos of hers. And I ended up liking it against the rest of her skin. From there, I continued with the image of that water and the background, just a dark night. But I got this idea of there being some kind of yellow lights that she's looking at. And so I did highlights on both her skin, which I probably cut out because I didn't see myself do them. Oops. And then I continued to put those lights in the water. So if you look closely, you'll see a little bit of yellow in her face, on the water. Made me pretty happy. And you can see my very patchy job of doing that sky. But eventually I finished coloring and I felt pretty good. I don't think it's bad at all. And I've learned that a lot of my style and my ability is very reliant upon the line art. I know a lot of artists want to go ahead and find a lineless style, but I really like my line art. It makes me happy, a little bit like a picture in a book, and I like that, so I feel like it fits. In the end, I'm a lot more of a storyteller than anything else, so if my art looks like it has a story to tell, or it belongs in a book, or some kind of collection somewhere, I'm not upset at all. And she was a lot of fun. Those flowers to return to were quite a lot of fun again. They were very dotty and splattered and just spatted, and I just felt like it was really fitting for the picture because she's very dotty herself. And so it was a lot of fun doing that part. So I'm not gonna lie, I did quite a lot of the flowers. Not that they really look like flowers. They're kind of abstract. They'll be what they'll be. Regardless, they were fun. But then we move on to one of my favorite parts. I love the highlights and the whites. It really adds something, especially to the eyes. It just brings some life, and I felt like she had a lot of life by the end. I hope you enjoyed this, though I'm not sure this was the very best reciting you'll ever hear, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll get the chance soon to add her to my Redbubble or my Society 6, but I guess we'll see. Thank you for stopping by.